if somebody is complaining over and over, is not the topic they're complaining about. The point is complaining. And probably I should have said this at the beginning of the video to make this more clear. When somebody complains over and over, the point of the complaining is not the topic people complain about, but it is complaining. So people complain to make other people feel bad. The husband feel bad, or the wife feel bad, the spouse feel bad. It's not because they want to solve the situation, because if you complain on something and you don't solve it, and you rely on the other people to solve the problem, there is a solution. You just leave. Hello everybody, welcome. Hope you're doing good, my friend. I hope you had a nice Christmas and nice holidays. I just say nice and not great because I know that if you're watching this, probably you have something in mind that you want to improve. So I hope that you just took the small gift that each of us had during this holy and peaceful time of the year. And I hope that you followed my advice in my last video about enjoying the food, enjoy the drinks with moderation, without exaggeration, and you put aside a little bit your frustration about your marriage or your relationship and your family. So yeah, I hope that it worked for you. And as I promised, I want to come on today to share to give some hope that a peaceful life, a peaceful marriage, a blissful marriage, and a nice, exciting relationship can be possible. It is what is happened to me, and I'm sure that it happens to a lot of things. Just because you got now in a not ideal situation, it doesn't mean that you cannot have good relationship or happiness in your relationship, or that happy relationship don't exist at all. They exist, and then we can find different ideas about that, but I want to give some help that something can improve. If your Christmas was again something about criticism and subtle awkward moments as the rest of the year, but expanded because of the presence of the family, because of the forced cohabitation, I can assure you that it can get much better. So when it comes to relationship, a problem, an issue in the relationship, and misunderstanding, my experience, for what I heard, what people shared with me, what I learned from other people, and what I learned from my experience as a divorcee. I divorced, as some of you may know. I'm a divorced man, and now I'm in a happy relationship, but in a happy life. When the divorce, all the solutions that come to improve the relationship every solution boils down to boundaries. Now, what are boundaries? Some of us can have a conceptual idea. I'll explain a little bit in a few minutes what boundaries are and how to enforce them. So the main thing that in a relationship, they can give advice how to talk, how to communicate, how to be more present, listener, show love, whatever, and techniques and tactics and cues that you can show in the relationship. But these are good plus, but the basics, the way to turn the relationship around is boundaries, and I'll explain later how and what they even are, because we may have a general idea. So even if you are not romantic, or you don't think you are a philosophical aspect of you're a practical person, you're not a philosophical idea of love, and so like for you, love doesn't tell anything. If love is the pink apostrophe between the word t'amo, between the word je t'aime, te quiero is not spelled with the apostrophe, but it's not the pink dot on the words I love you, and the rosy dot. So it's not so conceptual, it's not, but you're practical. You're more on the side of big practical, of act of service kind of love, doing something for the family, be a provider. What what I see, many of the complaints that people do, that there is lack of love, lack of connection during the relationship, and might be true. But what I see, that sometimes this is only buzzwords to say, to complain about, just to complain, because it's something that cannot be easily measured, to say, okay, how much good love. So, and I mean, mostly it's women, not always, but women that complain that men don't love enough. I mean, that women don't feel the love from their husband, from their special one, and men feel complaining, feel women, I mean, are in the situation that women complain about them not being loving. Sometimes it's the opposite, and sometimes, for example, are the husband that say, my wife doesn't listen, so I work hard over and doesn't listen. So it's a lack of not communication, but listening, or it's not that, I mean, sometimes we call this communication, but it's not the lack of communication, which is exists in many situations, but in the communication there's lack of empathic communication, or understanding. So we express something, they express something, but there is not mutual understanding. So, but many times when people talk about love and be, feeling the butterfly, don't feel the butterflies. It's true. It's a beautiful, to me, it's a beautiful thing, getting a relationship in an emotional way and feeling the butterfly and the fireworks in your veins when you are with your special one. But not, I'm sure that not everybody feels this way. But I mean, if you want to try, that's great way to feel love, through this physical connection. So it's like a physical and mental connection at the same time, and emotional, so by the heart. But I mean, not everybody is this. What I'm saying, butterflies are great, but when people complain about lack of love in a philosophical, in an abstract way, I will raise a red flag. I will throw the flag on the field, because I say, okay, this is just you're complaining about now. Tell me what exactly you want from it. So yeah, so when people start doing that, I think it's just because they want to test your patience, or they want to complain, they want to belittle you, or to feels, to make you feel that you're not doing enough. Is that the situation you are in? I mean, it doesn't complain, probably it's not exact expression, but there is something that somebody is complaining about you, and after years you are not able to understand what the heck is missing, what the heck are you doing wrong, and you do more, or in other case you do less, because you're I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't do it. So you react in one of this opposite way, doing more, and never, and the bar is raised higher, that the goalpost is set farther, and you never reach the goal. Or on the other side, I mean, to say, okay, I give up, and I F love, F marriage. I mean, just do my bare minimum in the family. I bring money, or I clean my house, or I make up my bed, and that's it. What I provide in the family, and so when the children will be adult, will be out for college or out of the house completely, then we'll see. I want to warn you, and I mean, let me know in the comments, or contact me, whatever means that you want to contact me. My website, divorceroad.info, or I mean, LinkedIn, or down here in the comments. Contact me, and we will. I mean, give me your situation, and I also run some meetups. So if you look up Divorce Road on Meetup, I mean, we can also talk live almost every week on your situation, where your marriage is in the brink of divorce. Let me know. So this is to say, I promised about talking about boundaries, something that you can do. So boundaries. I mean, it's the limit. What is emotional boundaries? We're we consider here the emotional boundaries that we don't want the people cross. And we need to have them, because if we don't have boundaries, there is one person in the couple, there is some lack of balance, because one person is asking, the other person is doing. And when, even if person A is not happy about something, when person B say, okay, this is all you're gonna get. If you need somebody else, ask somebody else, because it's not about marriage, it's not about relationship. You need money, find some other way. You need crying, you need complaining, find a friend. There is another thing. So your husband or wife, especially husband, are not the full provider of everything in the family. So when everything stops, and if there is something, okay, sometimes I don't want to say that we good guys, you that are listening, I know that if you are questioning your situation, I'm sure that you work hard, so I'll give the benefit to myself and to you the doubt that you want to do good, just you don't know how to. But I want to say that to understand how to do better, we need to understand the problem first. We cannot go by trial and error, and who knows when we're gonna hit the tile of the puzzle in fits. The other thing is that when somebody even allegedly ask what they need, they don't get to have it anyway. So if person A asks something to, you're not good at this thing in the marriage, on the household, or whatever, and you say, okay, I don't agree that I need to provide this, or I'm not able to provide this, and it's not part of the marital vows, then the other person also need to accept that it's not okay that the other person insults you or complain you or make you miserable, make you feel miserable, try to make you feel miserable. So when is the limit that the person that is asking and is not receiving what they ask is where is this limit? And this is another example of boundary. And also how to express this calmly or insisting, or how many times to express these needs. This is another boundaries. So these are boundaries. Okay, these are example of boundaries, but actually boundaries is very more generic of what I said. So boundaries in my definition, and I didn't see this definition a lot around there. So everybody try to give relationship advice, which are good teaching, but I only found a good explanation of boundaries in one place that I will share in the process, and about me. So the best definition of boundaries is anything that you don't like to receive, that people do to you and you don't like. So if you don't like something, it doesn't mean that you need to like everything. It doesn't mean that you're right not liking anything. So sometimes you may want to change your mind if somebody explains you in a good way and in a constructive way. But the moment that you don't like something, the other person cannot force you to like thing. Can convince you, can, in a not violent way, not like a proposal you can refuse. They can convince you, intellectually and logically and emotionally to do something, but not that they can force you to do something. So you don't like something, that's your boundary, and so nobody can convince you otherwise. Sorry, nobody can force you otherwise. Okay, so that's the problem. How you enforce this boundary? Sometimes it forces you to do something that you don't like, force you to something that you don't even understand, or try to force you to do something and they don't even know how to explain because they don't know. How do you do this? You just say, okay, it's not okay, I don't understand. You just say no and say, next time that you bring it up, I'll just leave the room. So I don't want to entertain this conversation over and over until you have a better way to express your need. And it's like when you go to trial or you go to some also in the Congress, when you present a law, you cannot present the same law again and again if it get rejected. When you present that law, you need to change some part of the law, or if you sue somebody for something and you lose the trial, you can appeal, but then you cannot sue the same person again. You cannot give the same ticket for speeding to some driver, to some motorist 5 times for the same speeding event. You can just give one ticket for each speeding event. That's the point. So this is forcing one way to enforce boundary is to express that you don't like that solution. You understood you don't like the solution, and that's it. You don't want to talk about this again. And this is one way to enforce boundary. And then there is every example. If you have some example, if you want to know if this situation is you can enforce it this way, leave in the comment, or if you want to do privately, again, contact me in private messages, whatever, social media. I mean, you can find me on almost all social media, also the ones that provide direct message, Instagram, TikTok, direct messages, Facebook, email, website. So we can also discuss, and I can address that in a future video. But I want to tell you that what's the point of all this video? We have a struggle in our marriage. We have a struggle in our marriage. We can try to do better, and we can read book, and we can accept friends' advice. I mean, friends' advice usually suck, because sometimes our friends are in a situation even worse than that. But anyway, so we can accept the friends' advice, or advice on YouTube, or on the TV, or whatever, or of course our therapist. But sometimes the situation, what is this? So I want to say, what's the point of this video? The situation, if somebody is complaining over and over, is not the topic they're complaining about, the point of all of everything. The point is complaining. And probably I should have said this at the beginning of the video, so to make it this more clear, probably I'll edit the video to say this. The point is complain. When somebody complain, let's restart. Let's rephrase it. When somebody complains over and over, the point of the complaining is not the topic people complain about, but it is complaining. So people complain to complain. So what's it about? Yeah, to make other people feel bad. So one spouse that complains again and again, it's to make the husband feel bad, or the wife feel bad, the spouse feel bad. It's not because they want to solve the situation, because if you complain on something and you don't solve it, and you rely on the other people to solve the problem, there is a solution. You just leave, and it's not that you make up other people's life miserable, because it's not. I mean, you're not always right. The person that complains is not always right, and even if they're right, it's not the only truth that matter, but probably the other person's truth also matter. And so be aware that people complain about complain. That's why you put boundaries there. It's not that you put boundaries because boundaries are there. It's just sometimes we don't even recognize, we don't even know that we have the right to put boundaries. We don't know what boundaries are, and if that specific thing is bound. In this situation of complain, we enforce the boundary. Okay, you complain once, you complain twice, you complain thrice. Now I understood. It's not the way you say, oh, I cannot do anything about it, or I don't want to do anything about it, like it or not. And then they need to take their consequence. And of course, we will take our consequence if they take their consequence against us. That's life. But I mean, if their way does make us happy, it's not, and the status quo doesn't make us happy again, then you also need to consider other consequences and other opportunity. That's why I work in the divorce field, because I want to again give you hope that I want all marriages or relationship to be blissful, not just good enough, not just, I mean, happy. That will be a good target, but I want the relationship to be more than happy, be blissful, be with butterfly inside, be with pride. So if you're more practical people, I want that your marriages bring you pride of being their marriages and be with that person, and with your children too, and with other people that are more emotional. I want you to feel the butterfly of being happy in a household, that you have somebody that you're happy to come back to. So I want to know, sometimes it's not possible, because, and we don't know because it's possible, things may change with years and with growing up, but sometimes in a couple, people grow up at different speeds. Somebody get more practical, somebody stays more minimalist, and things don't work together. And if you see your spouse complaining, it's not something that you're doing wrong. Don't think about what you're doing wrong, but think about how you're being treated. Not what you're doing wrong, but how you've been treated. You have the right to be treated well. So if you're in this situation, you may consider divorce. Divorce can be something that is not permanent, meaning that you can start a divorce and reconcile, or you can start a divorce, take some break, put everything straight from the legal point of view, money and situation, house, and children and custody, and your wife understand their mistake, and they come back, and you put the finance back together, hopefully. But to do this, I mean, you don't need to spend $50,000, $100,000. I met people that spend this crazy amount of money, and I mean, I know people that I know very well that also spend close to that. And so you need to do the divorce in a good way, not to get crazy and depressed of it, not to in a way that you don't lose all your money. So that need to be done in a practical way. So you divorce because you want to that with a blissful relationship, whether with your current spouse or completely another person. So yeah, and I divorced. I was in a pretty toxic relationship, and I learned this only reason. So I was divorced for 17 years, but only 4 or 5 years I had some suspect, but 4 or 5 years before divorce, I started to understand that it was not just misunderstandings or life challenges that were making our marriage complicated. There was some toxicity in it, and I will explain. So if you subscribe, you will be notified of my new video. In one of my video, I will share my story one day. Or join my meetup. So meetup, look for Divorce Road, and you will find some support group that are hosted by me, and we can talk about it. You can ask any question in privacy. So the meetups are private. Well, when we go live in other way, or you leave comments, they could be public. So I divorce was I don't advise divorce to everybody. So I will prefer that people work it out, but I don't recommend either that work out a situation in marriage needs to take years and years and years and years and years. Just if it doesn't work in the first 6 months, 1 year of analysis and working out with the question, then you need to divorce and put again a boundary to a line after which you don't cross, and you say, okay, now I will move on and do something else. I did this. I took many years. I don't want you to take so many years to do this. And now I'm happy. I'm happy being alone, happy being with my girlfriend, happy being with my female friend that I met through dating, and my my children. I'm enjoying my children. I'm very proud that my children doing very well now. They also the divorce was stressful for them, and the life before divorce was stressful then. Now they're doing very good. The teenager, they make trouble, but they're doing very. I'm proud of what they did. Hopefully I contributed to some fixing some stuff that was going the wrong direction. I hope that I put them back on track. So again, I want to give you hope. You're a dull marriage, you are in a miserable marriage, probably you are in a toxic marriage. You don't want to stay there. You do it for yourself. Do you do it for your children? Yeah, for your children, because if you divorce and you take your children out of a toxic relationship, you're doing good to them more than doing bad of separating the parents. Again, so I hope today here is December the 30th, so tomorrow is gonna be the New Year's Eve. I hope you can again enjoy the best of the way, the best way your celebration, your toast to yourself. If you don't feel to toast to everybody, a toast for have a great toast for me. I mean, for me too. So give me wish me well. I pray for you, and happy New Year. And hopefully your New Year will be your turning point to your blissful life, blissful marriage, peaceful life, peaceful relationship. Peace.